Level 1, the chestca, the errand boy. You are 16 years old in Moscow. You're a high school dropout with no job and absolutely zero future. A man approaches you outside a subway station. You want to make some cash? You nod. Come tomorrow at 6 a.m. You show up. There's a battered van packed with stolen auto parts, engines, transmissions. Your only job is to help unload them. You work 14 hours straight in an underground chop shop. At the end of the day, the man hands you 3,000 rubles in cold hard cash. That's 3 days' wages for most normal people. You did good. Come back tomorrow. You are now a chestca, a pawn, the absolute lowest rung of the ladder. You still don't know who you actually work for. You just know the money is real. For 6 months, you unload trucks and haul boxes. You never ask what's inside them. Sometimes it's stolen electronics, sometimes it's bootleg vodka. One time it's military-grade weapons. One day the rusty van doesn't show up. Instead, a black Mercedes pulls in. The tinted window rolls down. A man in his late 40s looks you up and down. You're reliable. I need someone for another job. You are moving up. Level 2, the Boyevik, the soldier. You are 19. The man in the Mercedes is a brigadier. He runs all the operations in your district. He makes you a Boyevik, a soldier. Your job isn't unloading trucks anymore. It's collecting. A debtor owes the syndicate 500,000 rubles. He borrowed it to open a cafe, but the cafe went under. He hasn't paid a dime in 3 months. The brigadier hands you an address. Go have a chat with him. You and another guy drive to his apartment. You knock. He opens the door and the color instantly drains from his face. I don't have it. Please, just give me 2 more weeks. You don't negotiate. You grab him by the throat, drag him out into the hallway, and hold him directly over the stairwell railing. It's a 7-story drop. You have 3 days or next time I let go. 3 days later, he pays in full. He sold his car, begged his family for cash. You don't care how he got it, but not everyone pays. A week later, another debtor ghosts you. He borrowed 300,000 rubles 6 months ago and vanished. The brigadier sends you to track him down. You find him hiding at his cousin's apartment in the suburbs. You knock. He opens the door, sees your face, and tries to slam it shut. You kick the door off its hinges. Talking isn't going to work this time. The brigadier's orders were crystal clear. Make an example out of him. You snap his arm. You actually hear the bone crack. He screams. His cousin watches in absolute paralyzed horror. Tell everyone what happens when you run. You leave him writhing on the floor and walk out. You feel no guilt, no satisfaction. It's just business. This is your life now, debt collection, intimidation, and calculated violence. But you're also learning the trade. The brigadier starts taking you to sit-downs. You watch how deals are structured, how territory is negotiated, how the local cops are bought off. You aren't just muscle anymore. They are grooming you. Level 3, the brigadier, the captain. You are 26, you've been a loyal soldier for 7 years. You've never botched a job and you've never spoken a single word to the police. The pakan, the boss, notices. He promotes you to brigadier. Now you run your own crew. But you aren't managing street thugs. You are managing a massive international smuggling route. The syndicate imports stolen luxury cars from Germany. BMWs, Mercedes, Audis. They move through Poland, into Belarus, and finally into Russia. Your job is to coordinate the drivers, bribe the border guards, and deliver the cars to elite buyers in Moscow. Each car goes for 2 million rubles on the black market. You move 20 cars a month, and you keep a 5% cut of every single sale. That's 2 million rubles a month going straight into your pocket. But the risks are lethal. The FSB, Russian intelligence, is heavily monitoring the border. If a shipment gets seized, you lose the syndicate's money. If a driver gets busted and talks, you go to a gulag. You handle it like a ghost. You constantly rotate drivers and switch up routes. You never use the exact same border crossing twice. 1 month, a driver panics at the checkpoint and tries to run. The guards arrest him. The car is seized. 2 million rubles gone. The pakan calls you, fix this. You track down the driver's family, his mother and his sister. You don't lay a finger on them. You just pay them a quiet visit. You sit at their kitchen table drinking tea. Your son made a mistake, you say calmly. If he cooperates with the police, he will never see you again. Make sure he understands that. The driver keeps his mouth shut, takes a 2-year plea deal, and doesn't name a single name. Problem solved. Level 4, the strategist. You are 32. You've successfully managed the smuggling routes for 6 years, generating tens of millions for the syndicate. The pakan brings you into his absolute inner circle. You aren't just a captain anymore. You are a strategist, a fixer. The syndicate is expanding into cybercrime. Russian hackers are the best on the planet, and the pakan wants his cut. Your job is to recruit them. You find a collective of hackers operating out of St. Petersburg, young kids, Early 20s, they run massive ransomware attacks against European corporations, pulling in millions. You approach their leader at a quiet cafe. You don't threaten him. You offer a partnership. You keep doing exactly what you're doing, but you pay a 30% tax on every job. In exchange, we are your shield. If Europol comes knocking, we have government contacts who can make those warrants disappear. If a rival crew tries to hijack your operation, we handle the bodies. The kid thinks about it, and he accepts. Within a year, the cyber division is kicking up 50 million rubles a month. The Pakan is highly impressed. You are off the streets. You are in boardrooms, negotiating, plotting, building an empire. But boardrooms are just as dirty as the streets. The syndicate is aggressively expanding into real estate. The 90s in Russia are pure chaos. The Soviet Union collapsed, and state-owned apartments are being privatized. The elderly residents don't understand the new capitalist system. They are incredibly vulnerable. Your job is to force them to sell. You target a prime building with 20 apartments, mostly filled with pensioners who have lived there since the Soviet era. They refuse to sell. You start small. You cut off their central heating in the dead of winter. You pay junkies to vandalize the lobby. You make their daily lives a living hell. One by one, they break. They sell their homes for 50,000 to 100,000 rubles, a tiny fraction of what the property is actually worth. The syndicate buys the entire block. 6 months later, you renovate the building and flip each unit for 2 million rubles. Total profit, 35 million. Your personal cut, 2 million. You aren't just a criminal anymore. You are a businessman, a predator in a tailored suit. Level 5, the vore Zakone, thief in law. You are 38. You've spent 20 years in the life. You've been arrested twice, serving a total of 6 brutal years in federal prison. You never cooperated. You never broke. The active vore thieves hold a vote. You are crowned. The crowning ceremony takes place inside a maximum security prison outside Moscow. 15 other vore Zakone are present. They officially confirm your elite status. You are now one of them. Your body is a canvas of ink. 8 pointed stars tattooed on your shoulders. Massive cathedrals on your chest. Every single tattoo tells a story. Every single one was earned in blood. You don't run day-to-day operations anymore. You are above that. You mediate disputes, you dictate policy, and you represent the Bratva on an international level. A boss in Yekaterinburg goes to war with a boss in Chelyabinsk. Both sides are bleeding men and money. It's bad for business. They call you in to mediate. You fly out, sit down with both men, and listen to their grievances. Territory, money, respect. You make your ruling. You draw a brand new line on the map, dividing the territory fairly, and establish strict new rules. This ends today. If either of you violates this agreement, you answer to all the vore, not just me. All of us. They accept. The war stops overnight. But mediation isn't your only job. You are also the judge, jury, and executioner within the Bratva. A brigadier in Kazan is accused of stealing from the family. He embezzled 2 million rubles from a shipment, thinking no one would notice. But the Pakan found out. The Pakan brings the case to you. He needs official permission to execute the brigadier. But you have to verify the evidence first. You summon the brigadier to Moscow. He comes voluntarily because he knows refusing to show up is an admission of guilt. You sit with him for 3 hours. You interrogate him, review the bank transfers, the ledgers, the testimonies. The numbers do not lie. He stole. You broke the absolute code. You stole from your own blood. He drops to his knees begging for mercy. He offers to pay back double. He swears on his life it will never happen again. But stealing from the syndicate carries exactly one penalty. You have 24 hours to say goodbye to your family. He is found dead 2 days later. A single, clean, professional bullet to the back of the head. This is the crushing weight of being a vore. You don't just give orders. You decide who gets to keep breathing. And you have to live with those decisions every single day. This is pure power. Not violence, not money, absolute authority. But you are permanently chained to the code. You cannot legally own property. You cannot have a bank account in your true name. You live entirely in the shadows, and you are always a target. Level 6, the international operator. You are 45. You are way too famous to stay safely inside Russia. The FSB is tightening its grip. Putin wants absolute control over the oligarchs and the underworld. You relocate to Cyprus, a tiny island nation, a banking hub, and a legendary safe haven for dirty Russian money. You aren't retired. You are expanding. You coordinate massive operations across the entire European continent. Money laundering, illegal arms trafficking, and high-level cybercrime. You sit down in Milan to negotiate with the bosses of the Italian 'Ndrangheta Mafia. You secure cocaine routes funneling up through the Balkans. You meet with ruthless Albanian gang leaders in Tirana. You coordinate multi-ton heroin shipments moving from Afghanistan through Central Asia straight into Europe. You are a global operator now. Your net worth is in the hundreds of millions. Offshore accounts, shell corporations, luxury real estate spread across 3 different countries. But there is a catch. You can never, ever go home. Your only daughter is getting married in Moscow. You cannot be there to walk her down the aisle. If you step foot on Russian soil, you will be arrested at the airport. You watch her wedding through a blurry video call, sitting completely alone in a massive empty villa in Limassol. You have absolutely everything and you have nothing. Level 7, The Hunted. You are 50. The European Union is launching a massive crackdown on Russian organized crime. Severe sanctions, frozen assets, aggressive extradition requests. Interpol slaps a red notice on your head. The charges: international money laundering, racketeering, and conspiracy to commit murder. Cyprus is no longer safe. You flee to Dubai. The UAE has no extradition treaty with Russia or the EU. You are safe here, for now. But the isolation is utterly suffocating. You cannot travel. You cannot visit your family. You live locked inside a multi-million-dollar penthouse, surrounded 24/7 by armed private security. You hear the news. Other exiled vore are being systematically wiped out. Poisoned in London, gunned down in Turkey, blown up by car bombs in Greece. The FSB does not forget. You know deep down in your bones, it is only a matter of time. Level 8, The End. It happens on a Thursday. You are eating lunch at a high-end, beachfront restaurant in Dubai. You're heavily armed. Bodyguards are stationed right outside the door. You are eating alone. A waiter brings you a cup of hot tea. You take a sip. 20 minutes later, your stomach twists. Your vision violently blurs. Your hands go completely numb. Poison. You collapse onto the marble floor. Your bodyguards rush you to the nearest private hospital. But it is way too late. The neurotoxin is already circulating through your heart. You die 3 hours later in a sterile white room. The official cause of death is listed as a sudden heart attack. But everyone in the underworld knows the truth. The FSB finally caught up to you. Or maybe it was a rival syndicate. Or maybe it was someone inside your own organization who wanted your crown. It doesn't matter. You are gone. This is the Bratva. You don't get to retire on a beach. You don't get to escape. You only survive for as long as you possibly can. And when your clock finally runs out, nobody cries for you. They just wipe the blood off the floor and keep moving forward. Because the machine never ever stops.